Hey everyone, I'm Alex Demartian, a game studies professor and professional game developer. And today I want to talk about something that changed my life. And it's the moment I stopped seeing myself as just a game developer and started embracing the idea of being a creator. And I even kind of named this speech, hopefully it's not too hokey, becoming more than a game developer, become a creator. So if you see yourself as only as a game artist, designer, or programmer, you may be limiting your opportunities. But if you see yourself as a creator, you'll never be without work. And I think there's a really powerful quote by William Blake. And again, this is many moons before we were even born. And it goes, I must create a system or be enslaved by another man's. I will not reason and compare. My business is to create. This is the key to long term success, in my opinion, in any creative field. If you don't build your own path, someone else will dictate your journey. If you only wait for jobs in a specific industry, you're at the mercy of the company's hiring cycles and market trends. But if you think like a creator, you open the doors to endless opportunities. So, why is thinking like a creator, like, why does it matter? Well, early in my own career, I believed that the only way to feel fulfilled was by making games. And it took me years to get into the game industry, and I was passing up a ton of other opportunities. And like I said, I spent years chasing these game jobs, thinking that it was the only way to apply my skills. But the moment I broke free of that mindset, I discovered something incredible. And that's the skills that we use to make games are valuable in many, many other industries. I use the same tools, Unity, animation programs, and designer in design for things like medical simulations, interactive experiences, all of that good stuff. And this is all outside of gaming. And what shocked me was that I often made double or triple what I was making in the game industry. One of the most fulfilling projects I ever worked on was my PhD project, where I created a vision therapy game with a group of doctors and another engineer for the Nintendo 3DS. This game was used by ophthalmologists to detect eye disease in underprivileged communities around the world. So, not just in the US, but in Myanmar and Burma. And it was built using the same tools and principles I had learned from game development. But I had a real world medical impact. Like it was really helping people. And I felt more fulfilled than that than working on like any Nickelodeon or Cartoon Network title. And this project led me to another company when I was presenting it at a conference, and they made VR therapy games and to treat amblyopia, like this is lazy eye in kids. And again, seeing these kids' lives changed, and also making double, often triple, depending on the places I went later, which was a physical therapy game company, was mind blowing to me. I was like, wait, I'm actually feeling the same way, feeling even better, and I'm making more money than before working in this medical simulations, which seems to be more funded than games. And again, it was one of the most meaningful applications of my skills, and it reminded me that game development just isn't just about entertainment. It's about solving problems and creating experiences for people that matter. And again, just because you do this doesn't mean you'll end up back in gaming. I ended up back at Amazon working on games and Netflix working on games after that. It's a cycle, right? The skills are all the same. So you want to remove that need to make games. At set point, I had to let go of the idea that working in games was the way to feel fulfilled in life. Instead, I focused on solving problems with creativity. And the truth is also thinking about how these problems were helping my family, right? And also my faith, right? I have this deep rooted faith that I'm working on. And again, if you don't have that, it's fine. This isn't supposed to be an overly preachy video, but finding those three things, right? Your mind, your body, and your soul, right? Are you constantly learning something? Are you trying to stay in shape? And are you working on your soul? Are you trying to be a better person? Are you trying to be kinder to others? And in turn, seeing that gratitude when somebody who doesn't have kindness sees that kindness. And it doesn't mean going off in the street and handing out sandwiches to people who, are hungry. It means looking at the skill set you have and providing it to those who need it, right? Tutoring people who want to get jobs. And again, I did tutoring online. I was making 75 to $100 an hour. And this was not me. I started off with a low rate and people started asking to pay me more because they needed me more. And this, again, I don't mean to make this just about me. I've had students and colleagues who expanded beyond games and found careers in healthcare, things like architecture, education. In all of these developing simulations, the VR physical therapy apps, those jobs that I got ended up helping other students get jobs. So the same skills, just to reiterate this, is to make that you use to make games can be applied to industries that are willing to pay more than your expertise. And the best part is you still feel fulfilled. At least I did. Because at the core of everything, what truly matters isn't making games, it's making something that matters. Now, how do you go about creating your own system, right? If you take one thing away from this, it's don't just learn to fit into someone else's system, build your own. Expand your definition of creation. Don't just look for game jobs, look for people that need creative solutions. Sadly, I was just asked to work on this incredible project, which was it's a way to help people who have struggled with addiction. And it's them looking, well, I can't really talk about this NDA, but it requires me to create these realistic characters of them. I just can't take it on, but it sounds so exciting and so amazing, and I'll get some research papers out of it. Be willing to explore fields you never considered before. And stop thinking like an employee, start thinking like a creator. Employees wait for opportunities, creators build them. If you can solve problems with your skills, you'll always be in demand, and be open to new ways to applying your skills. You don't have to leave games, you just have to be open to using game development skills in new ways. Some of the most fulfilling and highest paying work I've ever done was outside the game industry, but it used the exact same tools. And again, for me, I never thought I would get a PhD. I was like, why would I do that? I'm an artist. I'll just get this bachelor's in art, move on, just do art for the rest of my life, and just be like, live this cool existence. But the truth is, as I got older, I started looking at, wow, this PhD provides funding and tools and further education for me to learn things like improve my coding skills, create projects that I want to. And then I started hearing about these meaningful projects. They somehow found their way to me, and they're like, hey, you have these art and scripting skills. Can you help us with this project? And then it ended up developing into a PhD, which took my career from working at smaller and not in stature, not really stature, but institutions that had, you know, their rank was lower, which provides less funding. And so I started working at R1s in these bigger institutions because I had a PhD, I had all these quality projects, and people wanted to include me in their research papers. So these aren't things I had to chase. These are things that came to me because I was always creating. Mindset is, if you want security, if you want fulfillment, if you want to always be in demand, stop labeling yourself by an industry and start thinking like a creator. Create a system for yourself, or you'll be at the mercy of someone else's. Expand beyond what you think you should do and instead do what excites you. If you focus on creation itself, you'll never be without work. You're not just an artist, a designer, or programmer, or whatever. You are a creator. And that means your potential is limitless. Thank you, and keep creating, and reach out if you need anything.